Hey guys, so you might have realised that I don't post on here for a long time. I just kind of forgot, I blanked, and I was just focusing on filming videos for my main channel, and this channel just slipped my mind for some reason. I'm sorry. Also, Christmas time, it's stressful, and also, you know, with the current climate, stressful. Anyway, I'm giving autumn vibes today. Also, I got curtain bangs. I really wanted them, and then I got them, and also now I've realised that I need to stop tucking my hair behind my ears because I just styled these and they were perfect little swoops, and then I put them behind my ears and they don't, which is fine. I mean, they still have a bit of a swoop, that's fine. I just need to start not tucking them behind my ear. So Phoebe's sleeping. Hopefully she'll stay that way for the time that I film this video, and I also have another video to film after this, so hopefully this will be a long nap for her. If you want to follow her on Instagram, here it is. Also, I just started a TikTok. I don't have anything on there yet, but I have plans, so you can follow me on that. I think that's all I want to plug. So let's get into the video. Today's video is the worst makeup of 2020. I'm coming back with a bang. I'm coming back with negativity. Love that. I'm not one of those YouTubers, and not that there's anything wrong with them. I actually really enjoy that kind of content. I enjoy people buying stuff they kind of know they're not gonna like, and then they try it out and it's a fail, but it's funny. You know, it's a funny video. I don't do that because I just don't like being disappointed. I don't like buying stuff and then having it lay around and stare at me and be like, you don't like me. So whenever I buy makeup, I buy it with the intention of loving it. Like, I want to love it. I'm excited to open it. I'm excited to dig into it. And then when I try it and it's bad, it really does hurt because I expected to love it and I just didn't. This makeup isn't stuff that I thought I would dislike. This is stuff that I genuinely bought because I really wanted to like it and I didn't. And I think that's why I'm even more disappointed. So this is the worst makeup of 2020, unintentionally. I'm sure there are YouTubers who have much more that they dislike, and you know, their list is miles long and they really have to like dial it down and try and, you know, pinpoint exact ones. With me, this is pretty much everything that I tried this year that I didn't like. So this is it. This is one little basket of makeup that I don't like. I'm not gonna go in any specific order. This isn't like worst to best or best to worst. I'm just gonna dig stuff out and we're gonna talk as we go. I tried this and I don't know if it's like a specific issue for me or if it's just like a general issue, but okay. This is the Revolution Pro Goddess Glow Fixing Spray of Niacinamide and Cucumber Extract. I thought this would be really nice. This kind of gave me like Farsali gold spray vibes. First of all, the scent on this is unbearable. It is so sweet and so concentrated. It literally feels like you're spraying like perfume on your face, and it really just gave me a migraine. It sticks around for a while. But also, this is kind of greasy. So I ended up taking some makeup off my face, and I haven't used it since then. I tried it once, I tried it for a video, and I haven't used it since. So that's a sign of a bad setting spray. And I think this is the only, this is the only bad setting spray. I've tried mediocre setting sprays. I've tried setting sprays that are just average, good, fair enough. Like, oh, I don't really mind this, but this is one bad setting spray. So it's in the bad pile. What do people do with makeup they don't like? Because I don't really have many people in my life that wear makeup, and I just don't really have many people other than like my mum, and I think she's had enough makeup. She's like, please stop giving it to me. I don't want it anymore. I don't really have many people to give stuff to, so it just kind of lays around and stares at me. Like every time I open my drawer, it's like, haha, you spent money on me and you don't like me. So next, these are really disappointing because everyone hyped them up and I bought them. And then after watching a few more videos, I realized there are people who have the same thoughts as me, and I was like, oh, I wish I found your video before I bought this. Anyway, these are the Cover FX monochromatic duos. Now, one isn't as bad as the other. I'm gonna explain why. This is the blush duo in Pink Dahlia, and this is the bronze duo in Sun-Kissed Bronze. Now, they only, I believe, have 2 shades of this. Am I wrong in thinking that? I think there are only 2 shades of this, which isn't great. This one is kind of too dark for me. Like, I wish they had one lighter at least and then one darker from what they have already. This is apparently the lightest shade they have, which is quite deep. It would be fine if it wasn't for this god-awful formula. I'm sorry, that sounds bad. God-awful formula. So they have, this had so much potential. I love the packaging. It feels quite luxe. It's minimalistic, but it's also like heavy duty. Like, it feels good, it feels heavy. I loved the pattern on this, the shimmery side, the matte side. You can like layer them, you can mix them, you can just apply one or the other. This seemed like kind of too good to be true, and it is too good to be true. This formula right here is too wet. I haven't heard anyone mention this before. It's just too wet. You can tell because of the grease pattern. It's almost like, you know, those gelée type highlighters, but because they're highlighters, it's much easier to blend them out. That formula doesn't really apply well to bronzer or anything else, and this almost gives me those vibes. It gives me like yeah, it's just wet. And like I said, you can tell from like the grease, like, you know, when you touch certain powders and you know they're kind of wet because they leave that like fingerprint behind. Yeah, that's that. Because of that, it just never really blends out properly. I used this a few times and it always annoys me. Like on my hand right now, looks fantastic, but you can tell it's quite deep, so it's never really easy for me to blend it out. I wish they had maybe one shade lighter, maybe then I would actually enjoy it more. I think the only redeeming quality of this bronzer is the shimmery side. I think the shimmery side's fine, but it's also really metallic. I can't really use it on its own. Like, this is pretty much an eyeshadow. I guess if you very lightly tap into both, which is what I did when I was trying to use this, and then I said I have other bronzers that I really want to get to first. If let's say once I use up all my bronzers, if I have nothing else, then I'll use this, but until then I have stuff that I really enjoy and this just is not it. But if I was to use it, very lightly, fluffy brush, tap into kind of both of them together, tap it off very much, and then very lightly dust on my face, and then maybe, just maybe. Otherwise, it just looks muddy on me. Like, look how deep that is. Considering this is the lightest shade they have, I just don't think I just don't think it works really well for me. The blush people hyped up, and to be fair, the blush is better. I think it's very difficult to mess up a blush. Like, as a company, if you mess up a blush, we need to talk. Like, we need words right now. There's not a single blush that I could think of that I didn't like. I think if you left me with any one of my blushes that I have, I'd be like, yeah, cool, I'll just use that. This is Pink Dahlia. It's a very beautiful shade. It's beautiful pink. I love this. I just think because of how much people hyped this up, I expected incredible things. This is quite expensive. I think they're like about 30 something pounds. Colourpop's like under 10. You can go to the drugstore and find something much better. I don't really go to the drugstore because most drugstore brands in the UK aren't cruelty free, but if you don't really care about that, most drugstore brands probably make better blushes than this, or on par with this. This has that same wet formula, but because it's blush, you can kind of get away with it a little bit more. I think it's a beautiful shade. It's very pigmented and you can blend it out. I like this as a topper. I might end up, you know, using this more. See, it's quite pretty, like this whole combo here. I just think with how much people hype this up, I was expecting, what was I expecting? Like, just the best quality ever. And I got just a regular blush, and I think that's fine. It's just, this isn't my favorite formula. It's not a formula I'd pick. And I think because of how much I dislike the bronzer, I just don't use this because I feel like it's the same packaging. It just gives me the same vibes. I just don't like it. This I just wouldn't recommend, okay? I think this video is also, it's the worst makeup, but also just the most disappointing makeup, and I find these two to be very disappointing considering how much people hype these up. I just don't think they're worth it at all. I guess since we're on the topic of bronzers, blushes, that vibe, I hate to admit this, but I bought both of these Hourglass palettes. I bought this one and then I bought the 6-pan one. Now the 6-pan one is beautiful, chef's kiss like always, but this small one, I like it for the size, and I like 3 out of 4 of these products. So if that's enough for you, then go ahead. So there's the powder. This is the finishing powder. I love these. I think they're amazing finishing powders. This blush is an amazing color. It's like a mauvey pink, and this highlight is incredible. I just can't explain how much I love it. It's the perfect like shade for me. It's the perfect formula, the perfect consistency. This bronzer though, there's something wrong with it. First of all, this doesn't seem to be the same formula that they always do for stuff. So you can tell because the blushes aren't like mixed with the highlighty stuff, like they're always like marbled, right? And this one isn't marbled. This bronzer is supposed to be marbled as well, and it's not. Now this one instead is just flat, but it's got these like pieces, chunks of glitter, just straight up chunks of glitter. I don't know if you can, I mean, you probably can't tell. It looks fine on the finger, but it's got just chunks of glitter and it just doesn't blend too well. I usually swear by Hourglass powders. The bronzers blend like a dream. I'm literally wearing last year's 6-pan palette, like this, the Ghost Edit one. I'm wearing the bronzer, I'm wearing the blush, and I'm wearing the highlight. I mean, it all just blends into beautiful, like, you can't tell where one thing starts, where the other ends. Like this, on the other hand, like the bronzer, I thought I was maybe just using the wrong base with it. Like, oh, maybe it's just my complexion products aren't doing it. But it's just every time I use it, I'm just like, why is this giving me a hard time? Like, why do I feel like I'm trying too hard to make it work? And I shouldn't have to try hard with Hourglass products. So like, I love, you know, 3/4 of this, and that's fine. I'm okay with that. But the bronzer is quite disappointing. I do prefer the 6-pan bronzers because they're like that marbled effect, and I just think if this is kind of the formula that they use for the 4 pans, I won't be buying another 4 pan. I'll just kind of use the 6 pans or individual ones that they have. But this highlight makes up for it. Like, genuinely, I'm not upset purely because this highlight makes up for everything else. I'm like, I love it. I tried a few complexion products this year. I usually kind of know what I like and I buy what I know I like. But sometimes I'll do like a full face of something video or whatever it is that I do, and I end up buying stuff that I don't enjoy. Now, that's kind of the case with most of these. Let's go kind of in order. The Fenty Beauty Pro Filter Hydrating Longwear Foundation. I thought I'd really enjoy this. I thought this would be like the IT Cosmetics CC cream, just much better shade range. Ended up being a really bad formula for me personally. It caked up. So it's a hydrating formula, but it stuck and clung to dry spots, which was really weird for me. But not only did it do that, but it was also just kind of greasy. It just did not look good on me. I don't know when I'll use this up, but I have a lot of things that I prefer using over it. But if this formula works for you, then, you know, the shade range is amazing. It's just not for me personally. I wish it was, because I genuinely just wanted this to be my new IT Cosmetics CC cream. But there are just many other foundations that I prefer to this, and I just don't think I would ever pick this over anything that I have in my drawer. Next one is the Nabla Close-Up Futuristic Foundation. It's weightless, soft focus, perfect complexion. Now, I tried a bunch of the Nabla complexion products because I did a full face of Nabla. It's not up on my channel yet, so I guess this is a spoiler. I don't like these. This is the concealer that they have, and this is the foundation. I just don't think my skin looked good. I salvaged it in the end, and like, you can't really tell on camera, but I just don't like these. I don't think I'd ever like pick these above anything else. Like I said, it's kind of like with the Fenty stuff, like I can make it work, and I won't be having a good makeup day. I'll probably complain about it and I'll look into the mirror and be like, oh, I hate it. You know, I can make it work, but it's just not something I'd pick and be like, oh yeah, that's what I need to repurchase. Like I've repurchased ABH Luminous Foundation, the Hourglass Vanish Stick Foundation before, which isn't my favorite anymore, but it used to be. The Glossier Skin Tint before, the IT Cosmetics CC cream. Those are foundations that I'm like, yep, when it finishes, even though I have other ones, I'm gonna repurchase it just in case I feel like I need it for the day. These I'll be lucky to use up, and once I use them up, I'll be like, okay, gone. I'm not repurchasing them anymore. The next one is also from a full face of, and it's a duo. So the Huda Beauty Stick Foundation and the Huda Beauty Overachiever Concealer. Okay, I have mixed reactions for this. It's kind of disappointing because I was expecting this to be kind of like, I don't know, Vanish Stick Foundation, but like maybe better, because I was like, oh, like it's come out kind of more recently. Maybe the technology has moved forward and we make better stick foundations now. This applies really kind of dry. Can't really blend it out too well. It just kind of, you know, wherever you like swipe, even when you start blending it out, you can see like the swipes left behind, if you know what I mean. Then it blends out and it starts to cling to dry spots. And then once you're done with all your makeup, it starts to look good. So about an hour after I do my makeup, this looked really nice. Like, I know it's confusing because it's like, if it looked nice, why is it in your worst makeup? It looked really nice an hour later, but like I want my makeup to look good from the get-go and then get worse. I don't want it to like get better an hour later, because what if I get ready, what, I have to like sit around for an hour and make sure that it looks good before I leave the house. I don't know, this was just not the easiest to blend out. It didn't really look the best. It's not something I'd repurchase. I'll probably use it, right? Like I'll use it up once everything else is gone, but it's just not my favorite. And the Overachiever Concealer was just really dry. It just was not my favorite. These are not the kind of concealers that I like. I like something more creamy, more dewy, something I can like either set and make it a little bit more matte. Kind of like what I have under my eyes right now, just kind of like, it looks matte, but if I just left it unset, it would look really natural. This was not it. And then the last one is this Jouer Essential High Coverage Concealer Pen. Now, everything about this is a lie. First of all, it's not high coverage at all. Most of these stick concealers tend to be high coverage because they're like more concentrated, kind of like stick foundations. Now this, it clung to spots. Now this looks pigmented, but if you blend it out, I mean, it just kind of, I guess now it didn't do that, but like I tried to cover spots with it because that's kind of like what stick concealers are good for. Once you blend it out, it gets really sheer. Like it's more sheer than my like Glossier Stretch Concealer, which is what I'm wearing today. The Stretch Concealer, it's really good. It's one of my favorites. Spoiler alert for my best makeup of 2020. It's not high coverage. It doesn't blend well. Like you struggle to blend out. You can tell like the stripe leaves behind. It's always stick products that do this, where you like blend it out, but you can still see the line that you put there initially. I don't think it's good. It's always on sale. No wonder it's always on sale, because it's just not the best. I don't really know what to use it for, because it's like under the eyes it looked really bad, but it didn't cover spots either. So it's like, what are you good for? So before I tried the Colourpop Cream Gel liners, I bought these and I regret it deeply, purely because I bought a double of the same pack by accident. So instead of having 6 of these, I have 9 of these and I hate them. These are the Beauty Bay Pastel Crayon eyeliners. This is the blue one. It looks fine on the hand, right? But like it's very stiff. It doesn't apply to your eyes properly. The blue shade is fine. I guess the green will be fine. But the pink, the yellow, the like more orangey shade, all of those basically just look like skin shades, like my skin tone. So it just looks like I'm applying like a nude eyeliner into my waterline. These don't apply too well. Just not the best. They're just not ones that I really enjoy, and I have no one to give them to because I just don't like them. They're at the bottom of my drawer. I try not to think about it. They weren't too expensive, but still kind of like a shame because I really like a good eyeliner to finish off my look. Today I have like a brownie eyeliner. It's one of the Colourpop ones from the Raw Beauty Christie collection, like the brown one that she had in there. They're very good. They stick around for a long time. They're creamy. There's some pigmentation in there, even with the pastel ones. These just have too much of a white base, I think, and it just comes out looking the same on your eyes half the time. Not my favourite. Then we have, oh my god, this was a disappointing video. Me doing Anastasia Beverly Hills. I thought I'd love everything. That was in fact not the case. This brow pen, not the best. They came out with this recently. It's essentially just like one of those where you're supposed to draw the hairs on. I don't know if you can even see it. I mean, you can't. Okay, it's very watery. This is very watery and not very pigmented at all, which is fine because it looks more natural. But then what I realized is this doesn't draw on fine hairs because the tip's quite thick, as you can see. So it's very difficult to do like very fine hairs in the front. And then afterwards, I sprayed my setting spray and it just came off. Like there was just a patch that came off. So this is just too watery and it doesn't stick around. I don't like it. From Anastasia Beverly Hills as well. We're not finished. The lip stains they came out with. I have 3 shades. This is, you know, the one that I thought maybe like if the other ones didn't work out, this one should have been fine. Because how can you mess up a nude shade or a pink shade? Yeah, you can. They are the most patchy, dry, weird formula I've ever seen. Let me just, I mean, look how beautiful this would be if it actually worked. Like, look at that shade. It's stunning, except you apply it to your lips and wherever your wand touches first, that's just where you have a patch. And it doesn't matter how many times you go over, if you put lip gloss on top, if you try and blend it out with a lip balm, you'll have that dot there. It starts to crust up on the inside. It's just not a good formula. I don't know how this passed any quality checks. I don't know how they looked at it and went, that looks good. I regret buying these. They were on sale though, so at least there's that to keep me sane. And the next one is the Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk Push Up Lashes Mascara. 2020 is the year where I first tried Charlotte Tilbury, and let me just tell you, I love 99% of everything that they sent me. They send me stuff in PR, and I never bought Charlotte Tilbury before then. Well, no, I did. I used to buy the powder, and I still do. I still love that powder, the pressed one. Other than that, I never bought anything from Charlotte Tilbury until they sent me stuff, and I'm so grateful because I love everything they sent me. But this Pillow Talk Push Up Lashes Mascara, not the best. First of all, it's a plastic wand, which already not my favorite. It's one of these weird ones where it's flat on one side and spiky and thin on the other side. So you're supposed to use whatever built up product is on that flat side to like pile it onto the lashes and then brush it out with the sides. That way, I think it applies way too much product. It's way too wet. You can't really brush it out. It gets really clumpy. But also, because you're applying and slathering on so much product, it gets on your eyelids really easily. And this is one of those formulas where you can't scrape it off. Even if you wait for it to dry, for some reason, it will just smudge and leave like grey, but it won't come off. And it just ruined my eyeshadow look. I don't really like this mascara. They sent me 2 and I don't know who to give these to because my mum hates plastic ones. So I don't know what to do with it. One of them's closed. I think one of my mum's friends really likes this mascara, so maybe I'll give that to her. Like not the open one, the closed one I have like in a box. But this one's just not my favourite. I might use it for like my lower lash line or something like that. Or try and, I think it worked when I scraped a lot of the product off. So if you see this, right, the flat sides, if I just like did this and this, then it kind of worked like a supernatural mascara, kind of like a lash slick from Glossier. So maybe that way I'll make it work without any eyeshadow. So if I have to, I can just wipe it off. Yeah, not my favorite mascara that I tried this year. I have one product that I gave to my mum and she finished it that I didn't like, and that was the Fenty mascara. Not good. Made me have spidery lashes. It was just not a good look. I have really long lashes naturally and I need to add volume rather than length. I mean, I like length, but volume first, length second. And that one just gave length. I just had these like spiders. Not a good look. We're on our last three. The last three are eyeshadow palettes, and I usually love eyeshadow palettes. They're my favorite thing to buy, but these just were not it. The Ace Beauté Flare palette. The deal with this is a indie brand which changes their formula a lot. I didn't know this. So there are palettes where people use them and be like, oh my god, this is the best thing in the world. And then someone else will use a different palette and be like, oh my god, worst formula ever. It's because they change the formula all the time. So you don't really know what formula you're buying, which I think they should just stick to one formula. Just see kind of, I think what they should do is watch reviews and see which palettes have the best reviews and then just stick to that formula, because this formula is not good, the Flare palette. If you've tried some of these palettes, tell me which ones you liked, which formula was like your favorite. Now this color story is absolutely stunning. These blue shades here, I tried them, they just did not blend out at all. Now I tried this shade here and this came out like a pea yellow, like a limey lemony yellow rather than this beautiful mustardy shade, and every time I tried to then blend something else into it, it would just disappear. I just don't think this is my favorite formula at all. I pushed this to the back of my drawers. I just don't think I'll ever use it again. I really dislike this palette, and I hate that I dislike it because I think this color scheme is absolutely stunning. It's so beautiful, but I just feel like it just didn't work out. The shades didn't translate this way on the eyes. Like I said, this was supposed to be a mustardy shade and it came out closer to this, which is just not the same vibe. These just didn't come out the way I wanted them to. It just wasn't my favorite palette to work with. There are many others that I like. If I try an eyeshadow palette and it doesn't work, I usually don't go back to it because I have so many palettes that I love. Like, why would I choose to have a bad makeup day? And then these two were really disappointing. The ABH Norvina Pro palettes. This formula is bad. I'm sorry, it's just bad. I didn't even try this palette, and I don't need to because this formula is the same formula, so like they'll perform the same way. It'll just be a different shade. I tried this one in a video and it wasn't great. This is the color story. I think it's beautiful. I mean, there is so much happening here that I really like. I tried these and they just were patchy. They didn't blend properly. They didn't blend into each other. It was just bad, right? Like, it's just a bad formula for the kind of price that they're charging for it. And it's like, people are like, oh, well, if you try this and then use this and maneuver it that way. But it's like, I have palettes cheaper than this that I don't have to work half as hard to make work. Like even Colourpop, and I know I mentioned them a lot because I love Colourpop and I think they're a reasonable price. Because I'm not going to compare this to like Charlotte Tilbury or Pat McGrath because not everyone wants to spend £120 on a palette. But even Colourpop, you can get this colour story more curated, like 9pan for like $12, and it'll perform better than this. I did not like this formula at all, and I love ABH palettes. I have 4 of the like the long ones, and that formula is impeccable. It still stands the test of time. They could keep on coming out with that formula and I'll keep on buying it. This formula right here, I don't know what happened. I don't know who thought this was a good formula. I don't know who made this, tried it out and said, good stuff. I was just so disappointed because I love these shades. Like this bluey, purpley shift here, this yellow, yeah, it just didn't show up. These, oh my God, it's just such a beautiful palette and it was just disappointing. It was just disappointing. So I never ended up trying this one. I want to try it one day and maybe like, what if this one's better than the other one? And it'll be my favorite palette. I doubt, and I think I just broke it. Did I break it? Is it supposed to open like this? I mean, that's fine. This color story, how stunning. Yeah, I just don't expect it to do anything good for me. So those are the worst makeup products that I've tried of 2020. If you guys have anything that you tried that you just hated, please let me know. And I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, give it a thumbs up, comment down below. Anything you want to comment down below, and subscribe because I post videos every time I think of something to do or every time I don't forget. So hit that bell to be notified when that's happening. Social media links, any links in the description. I'll see you in my next one. Bye guys.